Okay, yes, welcome back to the channel, everybody. This is my life in Taiwan, and this is
Prozzie.
So, as you no doubt have seen from the title of this video, it's a possible volatile one. We're going to try and keep it as
Politically correct?
Politically correct and not really having too much of an opinion on the politics. We're going to really just focus on some of the details regarding voting as foreigners, either around the world in our own countries and indeed here in Taiwan.
Sounds good.
Let's stay on the right side of everybody.
Yeah, I know almost nothing about this.
Yes, because January the 11th will see the 15th democratic election here in Taiwan, the 7th direct election after the previous 8 were indirect elections. Do you know the difference between a direct and indirect election?
An indirect where you don't vote directly for the president, you vote for people that represent.
Yes. Whatever happens in this video and whatever we say, I am incredibly proud and happy to live in a democratic country where the people, at least that I'm surrounded by, get to choose who runs the place, regardless of whether or not, as a foreigner, I can actually vote. I couldn't imagine living somewhere.
I can, because I did live in a place where people don't have the right to vote or a right to express their own opinion on things. Yeah. And trust me, it makes a huge difference. And you see it in the Taiwanese people and how different they are from they who shall not be named. Just
to give you a brief rundown of who's running, we've got the current president, TAIWAN from the DPP party. Hankou is the KMT, the Kuomintang candidate, and then James Sung, who's from the Orange People First party. And at the end of the video, we're going to give you our predictions of who we think is going to win. So definitely hang around for that. Before we get started on our opinions of voting as foreigners in Taiwan, I've got a little bit of a quiz for Prozzie. Prozzie loves coming on my channel for my quizzes.
They're always so hard.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a country, and you're going to tell me, do they allow foreigners to vote?
I don't even know if Canada foreigners can vote, so.
Exactly. So the first country I'm going to give Prozzie is my country, the UK. What's the situation regarding foreigners voting in the UK?
Well, given that there's Brexit going on, you guys kind of have like an exclusionary mindset, I'm going to say no.
Yeah, the UK is a very interesting one.
Oh, wow.
Because Ireland, Irish people, which is a completely different country, the Republic of Ireland can also vote in our election. Because we have so much influence.
South Ireland.
South Ireland, yeah.
Ireland.
The Republic of Ireland.
The real one.
Yeah, the real Ireland, yeah. They can vote in our elections.
Not upsetting anyone here.
Yeah. So they're allowed to vote, and also certain Commonwealth countries are also allowed to vote if you're a resident in England.
Okay.
Canada, your country?
I think if they hold a certain status, like if they're a resident, or maybe if they're in the process of becoming a citizen. I don't know, I really don't know. Knowing Canada, I'm gonna say yes.
At the federal level, strictly restricted to Canadian citizens.
Ah, but they can vote. Okay, that makes sense.
Some other rules apply for local elections and also for British subjects if we've lived there since 1979 or something.
That makes sense because my mom's best friend is Welsh and she's just recently got her citizenship so she can vote federally.
New Zealand?
I have no idea. I'm gonna say yes, foreigners can vote.
New Zealand actually allows non-citizen permanent residents to vote after 2 years.
What? Then you're leaving so much influence of your country to foreigners.
Okay, so let's get closer to home now. Asia, what about Japan?
Surprisingly, I've heard that they can, and actually, not only can they vote, they can run in local elections, I think.
Wikipedia tells me Japan just doesn't allow it, full stop.
Never mind.
But I think you might be a little bit confused, because the next one I was going to ask you about is South Korea.
And they can.
South Korea allows foreign nationals who are over 19 years old and have lived in the country for more than 3 years to vote in general elections. Hong Kong?
I think that they do not allow anyone to vote unless you are a mainland Chinese citizen or Macanese or Hong Kongese. Those are the only people that can vote in Hong Kong, I think.
Nope.
Shit.
Foreign permanent residents can vote, but after 7 years you can gain permanent residency.
Gotcha, okay.
So there you go, there's a little bit of information about some countries from around the world. And what I really wanted to prove there is that just because the rule is what it is in Taiwan doesn't mean that it's the same all around the world. And the point that maybe we're going to argue now is quite valid. It wouldn't be unheard of if a country allowed permanent residents to vote.
Right.
But now let's get into the opinion side of things. And do you think that permanent residents in Taiwan should be allowed to vote? Or foreigners, or what do you think the system should be? Do you care that you can't vote?
No.
You don't? Okay, well let me give you my opinion and you can
give me a second.
My opinion of this is, and this goes for any country, whether you're a resident, a citizen, permanent resident, I think if you're in a country and you're paying taxes to the government based on what you're earning, then you should be able to have some say in who you're giving that money to. That doesn't mean you can arrive here on Sunday and vote on Monday if you've got a job. Yeah, I understand there should be some kind of...
should you have to be like an APRC holder?
Well, that would be a great line to draw in the sand. Yeah, an APRC holder or something like that. But also another thing in Taiwan, do you know the voting age? Do you know how old you have to be to vote?
18?
20.
Okay, a bit older than I think than most places, right?
Yeah, well, in England it's 18. I think Canada it's 18.
I think it's probably 18, yeah.
But again, I used to get quite annoyed when I was working in England and I was 16, 17. And I was, of course, you get a job and you start paying this thing called tax. And you're like, wait a minute, I'm earning like £200 and £40 is going to
this government I can't even choose. Yeah.
You can't choose. So for me, it's very interesting that some Taiwanese people can work from 16 years old, but then they have to wait until they're 20.
So to summarize, you think that foreigners should be able to vote in Taiwan provided they meet certain requirements that can ensure you that they know at least a little bit of what they're talking about, so that way you don't have a weird vote where foreigners just go to vote for the sake of voting.
Exactly. I just think, like I say, I'm not saying that every single foreigner that comes here should have a vote, but I think the majority of foreigners that are living here just want to have a say in who gets to run their country that they've chosen to live in. And some people will tell me, if you want to vote, go live in the UK, that's where you come from. I want to say that we, as foreigners, generally, we bring value to this country. Taiwanese people bring a value to the UK that go and live there, and Taiwanese people that go to Canada, and immigrants bring value to a country on the whole.
Yeah.
There's lots of instances of where that's not true, but I feel like I've earned my right to have at least a say in what goes on in the country.
Okay, well, let's make the video interesting. I'm gonna counter argue. I'm gonna say no. I know what you're saying, and I wish it was like that, but I'm gonna say no on the basis that democracy, as it stands, needs to be protected in some way. And I think that if you're a foreigner and you choose to live here, that's like a privilege, right? It's not granted to you. It's not a right to live here. It's a privilege. It's like driving, right? It's not a right. It's a privilege. It needs to be respected. And political debates are We're interrupting their square dancing.
I'm not sure if they can see that in the background.
Political debates are a massive open door for confrontation, so it's not something people should talk about. And so I've always been left in the dark as a foreigner as to what the hell is even going on. So I'm just like, well, I don't want to vote because I have no friggin' clue. No one wants to talk to me about it.
Yeah, from what I can gather, and it also differs now between the different generations. Apparently, like in the last election, the Blue Party, the KMT, were really popular with the youth. But then they brought in this Hankou guy, and some of the youth that I've been speaking to, some of my older students or friends' children, they're telling me they maybe would vote blue, but they don't want to choose that person. Like the person is putting them off. And okay, just to give a general breakdown of how it works, would be that the people who want Taiwan to be independent would vote green. The people who want to be closer to China would vote blue. But that blue vote isn't. You can also love Taiwan and love the country, but you also think it's better for the economy of Taiwan to be closer related to blue.
A friend of ours had this brilliant quote, which I love. She said, she's Taiwanese, and she said, "My heart sits squarely with the Green Party, but my wallet, that's in the Blue Party."
So, by all means, let me know your opinion in the comment section down below. Don't really want to get into a debate about which party is better or which party is not good for Taiwan, but I'd love to know what you think about foreigners voting, and if we could vote, would that upset you? Would that make you feel happier, or let us know?
So you think we should vote? I don't think we should.
Well, I can understand what you're saying. Like Taiwan has fought, or lots of countries have fought very hard for suffrage.
Yeah.
The right to vote, by the way. So you don't just want to go giving that away to
whoever, unless they're willing to give up their passport, right?
Well, there you go. Maybe that's the right answer. So yeah.
Who do you think will win?
Okay. Well, I checked the opinion polls.
You cheated. I didn't.
But again, my friend told me that the opinion polls sometimes are published by the opposite party to encourage their voters.
Okay, I gotcha, yeah.
So at the moment, from what I can see, the opinion polls are showing that the Green Party, DPP, is going to win. So I'm going to go with that, basically.
I think, and this is just based off what Taiwanese people have been telling me, I think it's going to be green.
You think it's going to be green?
Heavy in the green, yeah.
So we could be looking like a pair of mugs on Sunday afternoon when the results come in. And one thing I do want to say, I'm a permanent resident of Taiwan. He's been here for a couple of years. We love living here.
Love it.
Whatever party wins the election. We just hope that the person who takes control has the best intentions of Taiwan in their heart. I think that's fair to say, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm probably going to release this Saturday morning, 10 o'clock. So you've got all afternoon, get out and vote. Whatever you choose, just make sure you use your vote wisely. Some people have fought very hard for that vote. Cheers to democracy.
And a cheers to a thank you to Taiwan for being a democratic country. It's something I could really appreciate. Really, I mean it. Like it's huge.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. See you next time. My life in Taiwan. Peace.